What's up, friends? Welcome back to the channel. Super glad you're here today, and feels pretty good to be getting back into the rhythm of YouTube. I've been on a little drought, honestly, but I just realized I'm learning a lot of cool stuff and having some cool career experiences in commercial real estate. And I think 2025 is going to be a banner year for this channel. What are you learning, you might ask? Well, things like the peak end rule, which can literally change the way that you approach every transaction that you're a part of in commercial real estate deals. And I don't care who you are. Maybe you're a broker who's buying a property. Maybe you're an investor selling one of your properties or trying to figure out how to build a portfolio. Maybe you're an attorney helping a client sell. Wherever you fit into the world of transactions, it is without a doubt a people business. And a people business runs on reputation. So understanding this psychological rule, the peak end rule, will allow you to reinforce the way that you're thought of in a transaction. It will help you solidify your reputation, and that will lead to more business. It's something you have to understand. But what is it? That's exactly what we are talking about today. What's up, guys? My name is Justin Ryder. I'm a commercial real estate broker, and I started this channel to share my brokerage and investment journey in commercial real estate by documenting key learnings and experiences that are worth having. Do me a favor, if you would, stop right now, and if you've loved some of this content, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, which will help other people find it. So in today's video, we're talking about the peak end rule. Literally, this rule represents the 2 minutes that will matter most in every transaction you do. I picked up this advice from my favorite book of the year so far, which is The Diary of a CEO by Stephen Bartlett. Highly recommend to you, and I'll link it in the show notes. So you might think that clients remember every single part of a deal, but they don't. Whether it's long deals, short deals, complex deals, planned or surprise deals. According to this law, clients remember two things and two things only: the peak moment of a deal, whether it was negative or positive, and then how it ended. Thus, it's called the peak end rule, representing those two moments, the peak and the end. So that can be the best or worst part of the deal and the end part. Now, how can you apply this to your career, and why would you? Well, in a real estate deal, the peak is often the moment that a client or person felt an extreme emotion. So this might be when they toured and you gave them a vision that this property would become their home forever, and they saw their team there, and they saw their business there, and they saw themselves excelling there and reaching for their dreams. It might be when they realized it was a perfect fit for their portfolio and the cash flow, a perfect fit for their financial situation. It could be an intense negotiation point that they won, or a surprise value add that was potentially delivered in person. Either way, it was a positive or negative experience that will stick with them. The best application of this peak idea is to be looking for these moments and potentially encouraging these moments, certainly documenting them if they happen. Now, one example of this, while not appropriate for every single transaction, a recent apartment deal saw me arranging a buyer-seller meeting, which ultimately created a strong emotional connection between the older seller and the younger buyer. And that mutual trust is something that stuck with both parties. In fact, I recently asked the seller for some repeat business as I was calling inactive clients. And when I spoke with him, he actually mentioned this specific encounter. The reason is because the buyer literally went on to do everything he said he was going to do. He also mentioned the gift that I got him at close, which happened to be a really nice bottle of bourbon. And that brings us to the end part of peak end. The end of the transaction is the red zone, right? It's the goal line. It's the week or two preceding closing. And the deal has been brokered. The terms have been reached. What needs to happen is the deal needs to be papered and closed. While certainly the price and terms have been basically brokered or locked up, there are often last-minute details and decisions that need to be taken care of to actually finish the transaction. This is my advice to everyone listening. If you're part of a commercial real estate transaction, whatever role, see it through. Don't stop and don't trust that somebody else is going to come in and finish the details for you. When a deal is in a closing period for a broker like myself, it's easy to be tempted to sort of slow down, take your hands off the wheel and say, well, look, I've done my job. Someone else needs to step in, close it, and I'll sort of wait for my check. The main issue with this is now I know it could violate the peak end rule because that client is going to remember the peak of the deal and the end. That's why you have to see it through to stamp in their memory the kind of broker you are, to leave that lasting impression. And of course, handle the final details, hammer the final details, take care of business, see it through. I mean, now that I know this rule and that you know this rule, you understand this is the only way to ever finish a transaction and to be thinking about every single client you work with. What was the peak of the deal? What was the end of the deal? That's how they're going to remember me. Absolutely amazing and simple. This rule, of course, is why Uber drivers are so nice at the end of the ride, because the last minute can paint the entire perception that you have of them and therefore what they get tipped. This is why a vacation might not be ruined by a flight delay on the front end, but if it happens on the way home, it can change your entire recollection of the trip. And it's why you, as a real estate entrepreneur, will now focus on these two moments with every single person that you're working with in a transaction moving forward. Why? Because it's going to bring you repeat business. So have you experienced the truth of the peak end rule in your life and career? If you have, go ahead, drop it below in a comment. Would love to hear your story. Friends, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next video.